Even the birds don't sing there. There's a pocket of woods tucked deep in the Virginia Appalachians, so old and thick that time itself seems to curl up and sleep beneath its branches. The locals call it Black Hollow, though few dare speak the name aloud. Now, it's a place spoken of in quiet tones, with lanterns lit and doors bolted shut. When the fog creeps in, maps don't show it, and the roads leading toward it slowly disappear. It was once mining country, before the shafts collapsed, before the earth groaned and gave up its dead. And nobody's sane goes near it after sundown. You'll hear tales in the taverns and dusty corners of town, mostly old folks, wrinkled and bent like fence posts. They speak of a figure in the mist, wandering with a lantern in hand, whistling a tune no one remembers. Not quite a ghost. Not quite alive. Something older, hungrier. They call him the Lantern Man. A man of stone can still drown. Elias Finch. He fought at Cold Harbor, dug trenches with his bare hands, and once killed a man in self-defense with a rock the size of a potato. After the war, he drifted from town to town, living by his wits and worn boots. In the spring of 1874, Elias bought a plot just outside of the hollow. A decaying homestead sat on the property. One room, sloped roof, porch barely hanging on. The seller didn't even meet him in person, just left the deed and keys at the general store. Cheap land, Elias muttered, tossing the papers into his saddlebag. Ghost stories don't chop firewood. The townsfolk watched him ride out that morning. A few nodded. One or two made the sign of the cross. No one tried to stop him. At the inn the night before, a woman named Talbot had warned him gently. "You're brave, Mr. Finch. Out there, the night ain't just dark. It's deep. Ma'am, I've heard shells scream louder than any ghost's whisper. But even his war-hardened soul would come to fear that whisper, especially when it started whistling. Some songs ain't meant to be sung again." So, it curled around fence posts and seeped into the cracks of the windows like smoke. He set about repairing the porch and patching the roof, muttering to himself as he worked. Struck a match off-key. Distant, yet sharp, it didn't sound like a man. More like someone trying to mimic a man. Too slow, too hollow. No footprints, no tracks, nothing but stillness. That night, as the sun dipped low, a gray fog crept in over the trees. Thick and wet, that's when he heard it. A whistle. Then died. It came again, closer this time, circling the house, looked away. But old Brody, the blacksmith, finally took pity. Elias, who had faced cannon fire without blinking, felt a chill creep up his back. He reached for the oil lantern. The flame flickered, but the light burns blue now. And if you hear the whistle, you're already too close. He tried again. The whistle paused, Then it came again, right beneath the window. And again, nothing outside. Elias didn't sleep. He sat with his back to the wall, shotgun in hand. But folks knew why he was there. His eyes were darker, sunken. The next morning, the fog was gone. He told himself it was just wind. But he oiled the hinges on his shotgun anyway. Some things are buried for a reason. Samuel Crane. Lamplighter. For the old mine paths. Kept the way lit for men coming home late. Had a wife and little girl. At the general store 2 towns over, Elias started asking questions. Not directly. "You seen him, haven't you?" he asked over a steaming cup of chicory. Elias said nothing. Brody continued, "Lantern Man was real once." Elias raised an eyebrow. "What happened?" "Daughter got lost in the fog. Just gone. Left her shoes by the edge of the hollow. No prints, no sound. Just silence. Samuel went in after her. Never came back. Some say his wife followed days later. Whole house burned 2 cinders a week after. Who burned it? No one knows. But every soul who went into that hollow to find him, never seen again. Brody leaned closer. He walks still. They say he carries his old lantern, searching. What do you do when the monsters under your bed become real? Do you fight or do you make a deal? Well, let's just say I did both. Part 1. The move. 6 months ago. A fixer-upper in the woods outside our small town. It was cheap. Too cheap. But after my mom died, he needed somewhere to hide. In the guest room, there was a single rocking chair and a dusty lantern. No windows, no doors, just a small opening above the toilet. I wedged a chair in front of it. As the storm raged, I heard scratching, wood on wood. Whatever was out there wanted in. Then a whistling. 3 long notes. Then silence. I waited. The same tune I heard on the wind before. Just an empty house and dozens of candles melted down to nothing. The place smelled faintly of soot and cold iron. On the porch sat the lantern. The townsfolk never searched for me. They knew better. The land was cursed, watched, claimed. But old Mrs. Talbot said she dreamed of me that week. Said I was standing in the hollow, pale and quiet, holding my lantern, not afraid, not lost. As if waiting for someone to return a song to me. They say I made a deal, that I gave up my voice to the hollow. That's why the Lantern Man's whistle is broken now, off-key, incomplete. And sometimes, just sometimes, 2 lanterns walk the mist. One new. And if you hear the whistle, you must not answer. Because if you do, they might remember the tune. And then they'll come for you. And knock. He took the lantern from me. And just like that, he was gone. Vanished into the mist and the trees. I followed, deeper and deeper into the woods. I called his name. Silence. Only the wind answered. I found him in a clearing. He was kneeling beside a grave. In his hand, he held the lantern. It glowed a sickly blue. The whistle fell from his lips. His head snapped up. His eyes, they burned like coals. Then he smiled, a sad smile. He looked at the grave again and whispered, "My son." Was it really my dad or something else wearing his skin? I didn't know then, and I don't know now. But when he turned to me, I saw the truth. Those weren't my dad's eyes. There was no dad left, only a hollowed shell. And then he lunged. I screamed and ran back to the house. I slammed the door behind me and bolted it. I turned to light some candles, but it was too late. The lantern had found its way back. On the 7th night, the fog returned. It was heavier this time, a blanket that drowned sound and swallowed breath. The woods outside disappeared behind curtains of gray. I bolted every door and window, sat in the middle of the cabin and lit candles in every corner. The lantern was next to me, stubbornly unlit, still broken. Then I heard it again, the whistling. 3 notes, then silence, then closer. Outside, beyond the thin wooden walls, footsteps circled the house. Not boots, not bare feet, something in between. Then a knock. Not at the door, from beneath the floor. I froze. The boards trembled slightly beneath me. Another knock, and then a second whistle. This one softer, sadder. It sounded wrong, like someone trying to remember a lullaby in their sleep. My hands shook as I struck a match. I lit the lantern. It flared blue. Outside, in the fog, another light appeared. It hovered, a lantern, flickering, swaying. The house creaked, the windows dimmed, and then someone whistled from inside the walls. I turned, saw nothing, but I wasn't alone. The scraping stopped. Maybe it was just the wind. But then the doorknob turned. Slowly. Whoever was out there was big. Whoever it was didn't want to come in. It sensed me. It knew I was in there. And then it left. It didn't look like anything special. But that night, when the power went out, I brought it with me for light. When I held that lantern, I felt something brush against my fingers, icy, cold. And then a whisper echoed through the silent room. Hollow. Outside, the wind picked up. Rain lashed against the window. The lantern glowed brighter. The whisper came again. I spun around. Just the rocking chair creaking ever so slightly back and forth. Back and forth. I screamed. I ran until I found my dad. I told him what happened. He didn't believe me. Said the house was old and settling. That's when I noticed his eyes. The same vacant look I saw in the mirror that morning. He'd been hollowed already. And that somewhere was here, in the whispering pines of Hollow Creek. Nobody else wanted it. Me and my dad, we got it for half the price. The previous owner vanished without a trace. My dad called it a steal. I called it a curse. Turns out, both of us were right. Part 2. Part 3. The signal. That night, I locked myself in the bathroom. Part 4. The search. After that, my dad and I searched the house. For what? I don't know. Answers, maybe. Or help. We found none. We found a cellar door, though, hidden behind a bookshelf. Dad opened it. It was filled with tools, nothing else. But one of the tools caught my eye, an old hammer, tarnished and dull. I picked it up. It was cold. And then I saw the engraving on the handle. To Elias, from Thomas, with love. I looked up. Dad was gone. Part 5. The whistle. I found him downstairs. He was humming a tune. Part 6. The deal. Every ghost was human once. No signs of struggle. No blood. No broken furniture.